ahead of the last game before they're going into the World Cup, they must be absolutely petrified. You're not human if you're not thinking, shit, if I go into a tackle here,
injure
or
myself,
someone can do me or whatever. Bellingham, Rice, Saka, Mount. If it doesn't go well for England, Gareth might actually take things into his own hands. But for me, he deserves the respect. He deserves the opportunity to take this team or this squad into a tournament and try and go that one step further.
They can never do it like I. When you see man pull up and slide, man stepped in a room with legends, Rio and Steve, you know it's a vibe. Check the podcast, what you wanna know? Don't ask me, go and ask Joe. If you're talking Premier League, he's on the front line and I gotta go. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. Vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know this.
Yes, everyone, welcome back to Five. Massive shout out to BBC Sport. We're sitting there with one of their number one presenters here, Alan Shearer. Al, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Head of the World Cup. I can't believe it's November.
I know.
We're literally talking about a World Cup.
It feels really weird, doesn't it? Back in, 2010, wasn't it, when it was announced? And then they decided 5 or 6 years later that all of a sudden they're going to change it from a Summer World Cup to a Winter World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, without getting too deep into the politics, it was one on the basis of, we'll air condition the stadiums, it'll be June, there's not going to be any dramas. Anyway.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and then 5 or 6 years later, we're here, almost heading to Qatar in November. I mean, I don't know how it's going to affect everything because we've never been here, we've never done it before. But I try and put myself in the player's position and thinking ahead of the last game before they're going into the World Cup, they must be absolutely petrified. You're not human if you're not thinking, shit, if I go into a tackle here,
injure
or
myself,
someone can do me or whatever it is.
What do you reckon Southgate's doing for the last week?
Well, he's wrapping up Harry Kane as well, mate. Because if Harry Kane gets injured,
just blasting texts out. How's he doing? How's he doing?
Crazy.
Anytime someone goes down,
he has to be sat there praying, thinking, we might get one or two, but nothing with Harry Kane, please.
So that regular sort of flow of season finishes, couple of weeks off. You get your training camp, you go to the World Cup. The players that didn't go to a World Cup or a Euros, they go and do a little bit of one-to-one training. Then they start pre-season. You guys get a couple of weeks off, and then you all join it, and it carries on. The utter carnage that's about to happen. Because if you're not going to the World Cup, can you motivate yourself to train for 6 weeks before the next game?
Well, I think what will happen is that the players that aren't going to a World Cup, they'll head off to Barbados or the Maldives or wherever for a couple of weeks. They'll have a couple of weeks holiday. And then 2.5 weeks before they're due back, they'll come in and they'll start training again, and they'll be given a programme to do whilst they're away on holiday. But for them, I mean, to recharge their batteries, it's great for them. But for everyone, all the players that are actually going to the World Cup, it is going to be bloody hard work. I mean, the number of games that they've had to cram in, particularly for players that are in Champions League football. You've then, after the World Cup finals on the Sunday the 18th.
They play 4 days later, innit?
3 days later in the Carabao.
Jeez,
I mean, can you imagine?
That's crazy.
It just goes to show that there's no consideration for the players. They're told what to do, get out and play, go and play as many games as you physically possibly can beforehand, and then they're going to have to cram everything in again for the next 4 or 5 months because it's caused carnage with every league.
Yeah, we're going to see the squads tested, and you would expect a team. You would assume someone like Manchester City is able to ride this out better in the Premier League than most, but they might have the most players go on international duty, so it might be a case of maybe a smaller squad that's only had a couple of internationals does better.
Yeah.
But they haven't got Haaland going, so that helps. He'll be on a beach somewhere. But you know
At what point does he break your record? May, June?
He probably doesn't because he'll be off to Real Madrid. So.
Mate.
in 3 or 4 years.
If he did a 10 years here, I think.
10 years, he'd smash it. I mean, he'd smash it in 5 or 6 maybe, not 10. The way he's gone.
His contract says, his contract says obviously that he's got like a clause in it so he can go whenever. I know you're going to ask a question real quickly. Let's get into it, right? The meaty part.
Oh, I need to go back on this before. It's Haaland related.
Go on.
And it's modern football related. Lately, we've seen a lot of strikers are able to hit goal a game sort of levels, which we didn't see during the 90s. my personal view on that is because you saw back fours, and I think you had a back four that would have been entirely defending what you were doing, whereas now you've got a back two and two midfielders that kind of help out a little bit. Do you think that's played a massive factor into why we see... Because there is more goals per Premier League game now than there was at the start.
Well, possibly because you're not really allowed to tackle nowadays, are you?
That's one thing.
I think certainly even before, before my time, it was a lot worse. You see some of the crunching tackles. I was, yeah, exactly. Tony Adams and Keown and people like this. When I went to Highbury to play, the first thing you're doing is for the first 10 or 15 minutes, you're like that, because you know you're going to get whacked. Because they're allowed one free tackle before they even got a yellow card. You were allowed one free hit, whereas now it's totally different. So that has to help. But he's a great player. He has got a great record. But look at the records before, and there's always been great goal scorers, and there's no doubt that he's one of them, as is Harry Kane.
Yeah, I think he does. This isn't saying he's only scoring goals because he's in this. I think he scores goals in every era.
Yeah,
I think
no, he does, absolutely. The great players now would be great players 50 years ago, 25 years ago. The great managers now, and the great managers then, and like Jimmy Greaves or Dixie Dean, whoever it was, those great goal scorers would be great goal scorers now. There's no doubt about that. You always find a way.
I want to look at the England team. For me, I think there's mixed emotions. I think we've got one of the best squads around, but at the same time, I don't know if we've got it right tactically. I don't know yet. Even though we've got to a semi-final and a final, last two major tournaments.
These are false equivalencies, man.
Why?
Because you didn't beat anyone to get there.
Well, they beat Germany on the way.
That's the only team they beat.
Okay, cool. So
they did beat.
They beat someone, right? When you look at our setup, Alan, on Vibe with Five on our show, we're always debating whether Southgate's going to get it right. Do you reckon he's going to get it right? And if not, where does he have to get it right?
I think the one thing he deserves, Gareth Southgate, is he deserves a bit of credit, and he deserves to pick the team and squad that he feels is right. Let's look where we were before Gareth took the job, right? In previous tournaments, we were a bit of an embarrassment. We were a bit of a laughingstock.
France, 2016.
Look what's happened since. We've gone to a final. We've been in a semi-final. We were miles off that before Gareth took the job. So whatever you think of him, he has to be given. He has earned this opportunity to take us into this World Cup and do it his way. There's always going to be a discussion of whether he's too defensive minded, whether he's open enough to go and let some of the players play with a bit of free. I get all that, I understand that. That's the territory with England. But I also think I know Gareth well enough to think that if it doesn't go well, you won't have to tell him. I don't think England will have to sack Gareth, because Gareth will, if it doesn't go well for England, Gareth might actually take things into his own hands. But for me, he deserves the respect. He deserves the opportunity to take this team or this squad into a tournament and try and go that one step further. That has just failed him at the final.
He does, and I think you're 100% right. Yeah. But it doesn't take away from the fact that we have questions.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if we're looking, for example, I know he's got loads of questions. If you're looking at our defensive state, is he going to go with a 3? Is he going to go with a 2? Do you mind him going with a 3 or a 2? How did you feel?
If it was me personally, I would go in with a back 4.
Okay.
We haven't got enough and enough good defenders anyway. So then to play 3 of them or 3 centre halves, for me, I would go in with a flat back 4. It shouldn't really be an issue anyway because of our. And I don't want to diss Iran, USA or Wales will be the toughest game, I think. But whether it's a 3 or a 4 in that first game against Iran, it shouldn't really matter. We should have enough ability to win that game anyway. But for me personally, I would go in with a 4.
Yeah, I like that because you're short of centre halves, and I think I agree that it's probably the weakest area of the team.
So, yeah.
So why would you have more of them than any other position? And arguably the strength of the England team for once is the central midfield. Let's go with more central midfielders and let's get on the front foot. That's my whole issue with Southgate. Is he's got probably the most technically gifted side that any England manager's ever had at his disposal, and he tries to play on the back foot. I'd love to see him go on the front foot.
We've got some we've got some really talented footballers in the in midfield and in forward positions. Certainly, I mean, Harry Kane's one of the best, if not the best around. So if England are going to be successful in this World Cup, Harry Kane's going to have to score goals, and he probably will. So he has to be fit because he's key to everything that England do. But then you look at the talent around. I mean, Bellingham, Rice, Saka, Mount. Maddison, I would have in the squad. I mean, Sterling, I know he's like...
Madison ain't going nowhere, mate.
You think? I think he has to take him. I mean, he even more so now because you got a squad of 26. So you've got extra places in that squad. So
that's what we said to Rio. Rio goes.
He'd be in my squad. He'd be in my squad. He'd be in my squad every time.
Rio says. Rio is like, well, who do you take out? Because you can't take him because he doesn't. England don't.
You don't have to take anyone out because he got a squad of 26 now.
That's what I said the other day in the group, though.
There's a few players in there, so yeah, he would definitely. Well, I think it's more of a debate as whether he starts. Never mind, he's in the squad.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on picking over form? Or Gareth seems to have like a little WhatsApp group of his best friends. That
You're an idiot.
Harry, phrase it before the headlines pick it up.
You said it.
Picking
not
on
sure.
form, we've got Rio in trouble with that before.
Oh,
sorry,
mate.
But yeah, what's your thoughts on picking over? Let's say form or trust then.
Let me give you an example, right?
Euro 96 by any chance?
Absolutely. So you have to, for me personally, sometimes you have to overlook form and think, what has he done?
But yours was international form, not club form.
No, I get that. I mean, I'd never scored for England for 2 years. And with the clamour, you can imagine that the whole world was basically shouting, Shearer can't start in 96, never scored for England for 2 years. How can he lead our line? It's like, right, okay. But I was still scoring 30-odd goals for Blackburn that season.
That's different, though.
And I mean, one of the best pieces of man management that ever happened to me was Terry Venables pulling me to one side pre that tournament when we went away to Hong Kong and China. And I always remember it. And he said to me, he looked me in the eye.
Beer in hand.
And he said, didn't have a beer in the hand. Yeah. It wasn't in a nightclub. he said to me, whatever happens in these 2 friendly games, you will be my #1 centre forward for that first game against Switzerland. And I thought, wow, for him to show that belief in me, I thought, I cannot let this guy down. I have to repay him. And then we know what happened after that. So so I'm always a bit wary when you talk about form, and I know that club and England are 2 different things. Use Sterling as an example. I mean, Sterling's been unbelievable for Gareth and for England. So and Gareth has shown that loyalty, and I get that and I understand that.
I think this is a little bit different, though. I think what Steve's trying to politely get at is players like Harry Maguire who have hardly played for their club.
Yeah, but that's different. He's not playing.
Yeah,
he's not playing. If he was, it might even be different that if he was playing. But Harry's not even playing on a regular basis. Hardly playing at all.
But he's probably going to start.
He'll be in the squad. There's no doubt about it.
He might start.
It's going to be a huge risk, and that will determine whether Gareth gets it right or Gareth gets it wrong. I mean that's what some of the decisions he has to make, because we go back to the first 3 games, you just never know. You know, you get that winning feeling, you get that confidence, and then all of a sudden the snowball effect, and then you feel part of the tournament, and you think, oh, hang on, we might have a chance here. We don't know. That's going to be the difference, whether it's going to be successful or not. Those big decisions that he has to make, whether it's 3, whether that includes Harry or not, Harry Maguire, because he's never played. We'll see. We're about to find out, aren't we?
I want to ask, for example, you've got some players, we've spoken about James Maddison, we said, oh, you would have him start even. Are there other players that you're looking at who are on the fringes and you think, he's got to take him, if I'm Gareth, I'm taking him?
I mean, there's a discussion, Callum Wilson, backup for Harry Kane.
I'm not buying that one, you know.
You're not having?
I don't know why. I think Tony, so do I. Even though Callum's scoring, I know he's your Newcastle boy, so you're gonna have to.
I watched him closely, yeah. No, but I think you probably know me well enough by now to say that if I wouldn't, even if we're Newcastle, then I'd still make the. But he is playing really well, and if he's injury free for me, he has to go. His movement's fantastic. He's one of these natural goal scorers. He won't take. I don't think he'll take Callum Wilson and Calvert-Lewin because of their injuries. They both can go out in the first training session and get injured, and that would be a disaster. So I understand the Ivan Toney bit.
Can I just
Tammy Abraham?
He probably will. Can I just say really quickly? I think the problem with me when it comes to Wilson, I wanted him at Arsenal in the beginning, like before he got injured when he was at Bournemouth. Yeah. I just don't think he has that international swagger. I saw him in a couple England camps, and you need an arrogance, man. Do you know what I mean? When you play for your country sometimes.
Well, here's one of the things. I mean, I mentioned back in '96 when there was myself, Fowler, Cole, Ferdinand, Collymore, Wright, all of these guys. I mean, all of these guys really could have walked into an England team,
especially today.
And you've just mentioned about you don't think. Well, who has other than Harry Kane? Well, when you look at the list of centre forwards, let's look.
I think
Wilson, Abraham, Toney, Calvert-Lewin.
They're not quite that level, are they?
Well, it's different though. Come on, the era
you played
also
not really had the experience of playing Champions League.
But I reckon in general, you see it in players. Do you see what I mean? More than ever with Wilson, but I'm not convinced. I'm really not.
I would, without a shadow of a doubt, if he's fit, and it's always a big if with Callum, and unfortunately that's been part of his problem in his career, that he's always had injuries. So if he's fit, for me, he's definitely on the plane.
What's your 11? So do you want to go 4 at the back?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ifs, isn't there? Because of, is Kyle Walker going to be fit? Reece James. So they're big question marks. I would, without a doubt, I'd have Trippier in my defence because I think he's England's best defender in those positions. Do you put him? I know Gareth had him left back. He started the Euros, didn't he, with him at left back? But I would have him. I would without doubt have him in my team. I mean, Kane, Saka, Foden,
everyone else goes bottom up.
Bellingham, Rice, Mount, Pickford, Trippier or Walker.
Pickford left back.
Trippier or Walker right side. Stones.
It's a tough one, that one, isn't it?
The other centre half's a big one.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'm going with Tomori,
mate. He hasn't played enough.
Maybe Dyer, maybe Shaw. If Walker's fit, I'd perhaps start Trippier left side.
I don't want to see Dyer in the team.
I play Dyer ahead, you know. I know, I do.
There was a name that you mentioned in there that I think needs highlighting because I think this is his World Cup, and that's Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, he could be a superstar of. I mean, he's already going to be a superstar.
It's unfathomable how good he is,
he could be someone that comes out of the tournament and the whole world is going, oh my God, look at this player. He's that good.
Do you remember another teenager that excited you that much in the engine room as well?
Vinicius Junior could be something. I mean, we know how good he is.
He's already good. Yeah. But sorry, you see with Bellingham, you see when I spoke about that character, that personality, he epitomises that. You know, he's probably not ahead, well, he shouldn't be ahead of Foden and the other guys or whatever, but the way he conducts himself is like he knows he is already, you know.
He's already sounds and looks so experienced, whereas he's actually so young. I mean, for him to make the decision to go and live abroad and play a different game in a different country, then that shows you what his character is. So, yeah, look, he's already a fantastic player, but said he could come out of the World Cup and the whole world will be looking, thinking, "Oh my God,
I think he's one.
What a player he is."
I think he's one. Yeah. Back on, just looping back round on Southgate a little bit. That first World Cup he was in charge of, the waistcoat, all the singing, there was a mood around him, and I got it. Yeah, I bought into it a little bit. I got it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was fresh and he came with a fresh idea.
Yeah.
But I thought that went a little stale in the last tournament, and I think that what the public have wanted to see is a progression in the team, and I think with the level of talent we've got, we've not seen that.
Well, we got to a semi-final in the World Cup. We got to a final.
No, I know you got to a literal progression, but the way the
that's
team's
what counts
playing,
on paper.
No, because the performances matter. You can get lucky in a cup.
You can, but
yeah, but it doesn't matter. You tell me who, when France were the world champions, who did they beat on the way? You can't remember. Who gives a
Croatia.
shit who you beat?
Croatia
Doesn't matter who you
semi-final.
beat. It doesn't matter who you beat, does
Brazil in
it?
the
You
final.
want to lift that trophy.
Look at, like,
No one
who you
looks
lost
back and
to.
says, "Oh, you had an easy ride.
That's true.
You
Lost
won the
to the likes
trophy."
of Germany. We've gone out to Brazil. We've
Portugal.
gone out to proper teams.
Yeah.
We're not going out to we're scraping through Colombia on penalties. We beat Denmark. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Gee, you are hard to please you are, by the way.
He's like that.
standards are. Like, we've not come
I
up
don't
against the
care.
prime Brazil,
I don't
Argentina. We've not played a big boy, have we?
It
we
wouldn't bother me at all
lost
if
to
we didn't
Belgium
play a
twice.
big boy. That's their fault. If we get all the way to a final and we don't play big boy, that's the big boys' fault for not
true.
getting there.
It's
I'll give
true.
you that. I'll give you that. Thanks to the BBC. Thank you to Alan.
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
sure we'll see you while we're over there.
I'm sure
as
you
well.
will. We'll have a beer.
Cheers for you lot, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.